Welcome to In Pursuit with Pastor Bill.
Hey, I'm just a simple guy in pursuit of knowledge, wisdom, understanding, wild game, fish that swim under the ice, tender smoked meat, tasty grilled meat, and Denise.
In this hour, we are going to be talking about all of that and a whole lot more. Bill has been with Maranatha since 2005 and the campus pastor at Maranatha Chisago Lakes campus since 2011. Come along and join In Pursuit.
Well, good afternoon. It is afternoon 12:07 on Friday, June 13th. 13th?
No,
12th.
Yeah, 12th.
Friday, June 12th.
Something like that.
I'm looking at a clock that has 6:13 on it. I wonder what year that's planned for.
Yeah, it's not Friday the 13th
No,
today.
it's not, is it?
No,
No, and
it's a bad
but tomorrow's
clock.
going to be, right?
It's a bad clock telling us it's Friday the 13th.
It has
all
the
day
right time,
today.
so I guess that's a good thing.
Yeah.
All right, well, hey, welcome to In Pursuit every Thursday from noon to 1 and also available on all of the podcast forums. As always, if you hear something you like, please feel free to share it. You can put it out on your social media, send a link if you hear one you like. But always fun to get the word out on the stuff we're doing. Who's with us today? I'm Bill.
I'm Denise.
I'm James.
Awesome. We're all excited to be here.
Yeah.
Had a bit of a busy night last night, so I think we're dragging a little bit today.
Just a little,
Yeah,
but that's okay. It was a good night.
it was a very good
Are we
night.
talking about the night right now?
We will be.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, actually, it's the next thing on my list. Check in
Okay.
with all who present. We did a roll call.
Uh-huh.
You know, speaking of roll call, James, I don't know if we've ever told you this, but you know the Memorial Day services?
Yeah.
We might have even talked about this on here, but one of the first ones Denise and I went to years ago in Chisago City, they do a service at the, I think it's called the Memorial Cemetery on Old Town Road.
I think that is the name.
But they do every year. They're one of the cemeteries that does a little Memorial Day service. And the first time we went, now a few years back, they would read off the names of the veterans that had died or that were buried in that cemetery.
Yeah.
And there was a big guy standing off like 20 or 30 yards away from the crowd and from the guy reading the names. And every name that was read, he said in a big booming voice, "Not present." And so instead of like a roll call where their response is present, their response was not present. And I'm telling you what,
Man.
it hit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We-
I think I remember
Crying.
you telling us this
I might have
at a
yeah.
meeting.
Yeah,
Crazy.
had huge impact on me.
Yeah.
It's something that honestly I wish they would bring back and do because it's
Yeah.
very
I can't imagine his voice was left at all after
Yeah.
all the
Yeah.
services they did.
Yeah.
But it was absolutely amazing. Very powerful.
You know who would be good at that? Randy from our church.
Oh, yeah.
Big booming voice.
Yep.
And he's a veteran. Gosh,
Yeah.
that might be a project.
Yeah.
Just to talk to the color guard and the I don't know if it's a VFW post or a Legion post in the Chisago area, but boy, it was just so cool.
It was.
Anyway, yeah, so last night we had what we call our spring barbecue at the Chisago Lakes campus. We do one in the spring and then we do a fall barbecue, and it's just a time to gather outside and just get all the people from the different services together. 'Cause
And to eat a lot of food.
Yeah.
a gross amount of food.
It's like my favorite event we do.
It's
I know.
neat.
It is. It's cool.
It's the best.
You know what's amazing is how the weather works out. So last
yeah.
night was another example of it. Like, you kind of get to a point, whatever the forecast is, we're just planning on doing it because it just seems to always work out so well.
Always.
So the events, it starts at 6:30. People usually start getting there an hour or so ahead of time. And you just start coming. And we plan out, so we barbecue hot dogs outside, hundreds of them. We had 300 regular hot dogs, Ambassador all beef hot dogs, which we love.
Yeah.
We had 100 venison dogs. And then just throughout the day, one of the guys that works at a local restaurant showed up with a box of 50 hamburgers.
Nice.
And yeah, just crazy the amount of food, not to mention all the food everybody brings. And so we're watching the forecast all day and looking at radar, and I'm looking, Shane's got it on his computer, I keep pulling up my phone, we're just kind of watching it and just thinking, well, it's going to clear up a little after 5, and sure enough, like it just happened, and it had rained. And so earlier in the day, we mowed and weed whipped and blew off the parking lot and everything where we set up tables and chairs. Then it rained. And so then at like 5 or 10 after 5 or something, guys out there with a couple of leaf blowers and
push brooms,
squeegee. And
Oh man.
yeah, so this morning Shane's like, we didn't just blow the driveway off. We
scrubbed it.
Scrubbed it. Yeah. So
Wow.
yeah, pretty cool. But just a super fun event. And speaking of that, if you're listening, please let us know that you're listening. Cindy she was on it. She texted Alice and I are listening. Thank you guys for listening back there.
Speaking of the food at our potluck, we have such a cool church. Mm-hmm. Tons of food. I've been to church potlucks where I'll bring 30 peanut butter sandwiches because there's never enough food. And that's so disheartening. It's just disheartening to not have enough food at a potluck.
Yeah.
Yeah, and ours is overflowing.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful table of abundance.
I wish we had. James, did you get a picture? Because I know you're taking pictures.
Yeah.
Did you get a picture of the food?
Yeah, I got video of it too.
Of that table?
Yeah, there's it's like a shot where everybody's like, the table's in the middle shooting down, and then everybody's on the sides grabbing the food.
So put that on our church Instagram.
I should, yeah.
Yeah, and because it's just, if you want to see this insane amount of food, I mean, and people just keep walking in with bowls and pans and
Oh my gosh.
salads and desserts and obviously chips. And then Connor, I look so forward to it. I was standing at the front door, and Connor and his mom Laura come walking in and carrying 2 pans, and one of them's labeled pheasant and one of them's labeled venison, and it's jalapeno poppers that he makes. A little and I don't like spicy, but I can eat these, so he must clean out these jalapenos good, and then some cream cheese mixture in there, and then a little thin slice of venison, and then a thin slice of bacon on top. It's enough to make you bark. That's right. But it's just so good. And like you said, Denise, just an insane amount of food. And just my favorite thing though is talking to different people, because the goal is, again, that you would build community. It's not just let's get together, but there's an intentional purpose. Let's build community. Let's meet somebody new, or continue to build relationships that are already there. And over again, you hear from people, young and old, like, this was a blast. I met new people, and or I saw people I hadn't seen for a long time. And it's that's the part that it's like, man, that makes me happy. You know, just to watch people connect with each other. It's fun for us to get to say hi to people and all that, but I think it's so much more important that they connect with each other. And young families, Cindy does a great job with setting up some kids games in the bouncy houses, and so you see kids playing. I mean, it's just so fun.
It's good.
And the weather always works out.
Yep. If you want to talk to people, you can talk to people at that event.
You can, yeah.
Yep. You might have to step out of your comfort zone, but people are willing to talk, and it's good.
I got to sit next to Aaron and Nina.
Oh, yeah.
I say hi to them every weekend, but I've never actually had a chance to just sit down and talk to them. So that was fun. Me and Scotland got to know them quite a bit. So,
that's cool.
Yeah.
It's very cool. They're a neat couple.
Yeah, they're
You
fun.
guys are a neat couple.
Oh, thanks.
Super. Thanks.
My goodness. Lordy. So, yeah, that was a good night. A lot of work, though. Shane's kind of limping around today.
We sat down when we got home. We got home pretty late and sat down, and then had to get up again to fill our food. And
because we had to go home and have snacks.
So you get up and it's like, oh no, I'm frozen in position. I need the oil can for all of my joints.
It's a lot, but again, it's just like anything. It's work, and there's no better work than ministry work. And
right.
It's something where it's like there's no sermon, there's just background music, but not like a time of worship.
Right.
But a very spiritual night when you talk about connecting with other believers and building the body and building the church and deepening those relationships.
Yeah, very important.
It's unbelievably important, and it's just fun. It's laid back. Then at the end of the night, somebody hooked up a karaoke app to the soundboard, and a couple of people got up and sang some karaoke songs. So it's kind of fun. kind of fun. Yeah. I tried to get Lou to sing, but he said he couldn't. He was doing security or something, but almost going to sing a Waylon Jennings song.
Oh my gosh.
One of these days. So yeah, and then let's see. It's sad, but I don't think in the last couple of weeks we've even fired up the smoker.
Yeah.
We've had good food, but I don't think we've fired up the smoker at all.
Yeah, I don't think we have either.
Probably.
It would have been better if we had, because the venison was not to my liking. We've had venison.
I liked it a lot.
Yeah, just not as good as the stuff we've had in the smoker lately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was neck meat, a chunk of neck meat that we had that she just puts in a pan and in the oven. And
Yeah, but I didn't do it in the oven this time because it was a hot day. So I put it in the crock pot
that's right,
out on the
crock pot.
porch. And I'm just not a big fan of crock pot meat.
yeah.
I mean, if it's already cooked and juicy and then you put it in the crock pot just to keep it warm. But I don't seem to do well making meat in a crock pot. Just seems to dry it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was disappointed. It still tasted good.
Yeah, it was still good.
And it was still tender, but
The neck meat is good. It's a good piece of meat.
it is.
Takes a little more time when you're butchering, but that just all of that around there, it's good.
It's so weird.
Yeah, it's weird.
Like he put his hand up like he's choking his neck. That's the neck meat on the deer.
Yeah.
Just that hunk of meat that he cuts off the. Yeah. It's a weird piece of meat, but it's tasty.
It is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for a lot of years we didn't take the time, and now I like to take the time and cut some of that off.
Yeah, well, that's the first time I cooked a neck meat. The first time I did it, we sat down to the table. I did it in the oven, and I didn't have any idea what I did or what the seasonings were. I just put it in the pan and seasoned it and added some water and oil, and then thought, oh, this will be good with rice because there was a lot of juice in there. So I put some rice in, a few more seasonings. We sat down. He goes, "This might be the best venison I've ever had." And I was like, "Shoot,
That's right.
Oh
yeah.
my word.
I will never be able to do this again."
Yeah, that's right. I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. It was just delicious. So, Mom and Dad are listening. Thank you guys for listening. Hello. Let's see, but coming up, so we haven't done a lot in the smoker. We've had some good food, but I am very much looking forward to Sunday. So my girls and their guys are coming up. Mom and Dad are coming up sometime early afternoon, but we're going to make smash burgers.
Yum.
And so just real quick, I was telling a couple of guys about how we make smash burgers a few weeks ago, and one of the guys went home and tried it, and he just was like, "Man, that it was out of this world." And
They really are.
yeah, well,
There's-
so here's the thing though is your son, your oldest son Eric,
Yes.
actually, he was staying with us a few years ago and taught us how to make a good smash burger.
He's a fabulous cook.
He is a fabulous
like a fabulous griller, a fabulous cook. But he
Yeah.
showed us this, and we were blown away.
It was out of this world.
Yeah.
Like, so on the Blackstone, there's 4 burners. And so he came to me, he says, "Hey, do you mind if I scrape off one of these burners, to kind of get the seasoning, the non-stick seasoning part of it off?" I was like, "Yeah, whatever." So one of the burners, he kind of just scraped that.
He took it down to the silver.
It's almost completely silver on that one burner.
Yeah, and I was looking at him like, oh my God, he just wrecked Bill's new grill.
No,
But he didn't.
he didn't. No. So,
But-
so now when we make a bunch like this weekend, we won't just use that burner. But the idea is, so like if you get a tube of a pound of hamburger, what I'll do is, like, you don't mix up any seasoning or crackers or eggs or anything. You just like open the package, and then I kind of slice it into probably eighths, and then you put that little ball or that slab of meat just right on that Blackstone, and especially on that clean one, and then you just smash that thing down like I'm pushing almost as hard as I can push.
Dang.
Smashing that down. And
So he uses a solid spatula,
Yeah.
and puts a small glass on top so he can push down with both hands, not just one hand. That's like how hard he's pushing.
yeah, it's pushing hard.
So you put the glass on top of the spatula and then smash it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I also have now what I used last time. I have one of those big square cast iron.
Oh, yeah.
It's just flat, like to push down.
Yeah.
And so I put a piece of parchment paper on top of the chunk of meat, and then just use that to push down. It worked very slick.
Yeah, that's what they use in restaurants
Okay.
too.
So, but like she just said though, I'm pushing hard, and then you just let that sear to the grill, and then you. So if you do a few of them, salt and pepper the one side, and then you take like your blade, your knife, or your metal spatula, and you scrape on the grill. Like you want to scrape and get all that char.
Yeah.
And then you flip it over, and again, this is a pretty quick process. Throw a piece of cheese on it now, and then what you do is you take 2 of those patties, has 2 pieces of cheese, stack them together, and that's one burger. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
The char has all the flavor.
the char
Just
makes it.
fabulous.
Yeah.
Do you salt and pepper the second side?
I don't remember. That's usually not my job.
Okay. Yeah, because his girls help him
Yeah,
make these.
it's a cool process. Yeah.
It's like an assembly line because it's pretty fast. It's a pretty fast process, and to get it all done. And the cheese, I have the cheese unwrapped. If we're using American slices, I have the unwrapped because you can't take the time to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they just turn out delicious. Toast a little bun, or you can fry some onions, whatever you want on there, and it's just, they're out of this world when they're done right. And so him showing us how to do that.
Yeah.
And we came home one night. I know we're talking a lot of food, but we came home one night from church, and it was winter time, and the Blackstone was in the pole barn, and
Smoke was rolling out.
it was rolling out of the pole barn. But here's what happened. This was a regular Wednesday night service, or no, it was a Saturday night. That's what it was.
Yeah, it was.
So he texted Denise before the Saturday service started, hey, do you guys want some Philly steak and cheese for supper? He was going to make them on the Blackstone. And that was before the Saturday service started. And so I think I told the congregation, we're going home to Philly steak and cheese. So this is going to be probably the shortest sermon you've ever heard. So then, of course, but when we get home, we come driving up. It was wintertime, so it was already dark out. And yeah, he had the pole barn garage door open, and the smoke was just pouring out because he was cooking in the pole barn.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm telling you, these Philly steak and cheese he made were just like, I've never had a sandwich like that.
It was unbelievable. And it was
Unbelievable.
huge. It was like this awesome hoagie roll.
Oh my gosh.
They were probably, what do you think, they were 9 inches long, the hoagie roll?
It could have been, yeah.
They were so big, and it was so good. I just sat there. I couldn't finish it, and I just sat there. I'm like, I'm not throwing this away. I'm not. So I just sat there until my stomach emptied a little bit, and then I take another bite, or it stretched a little more.
Yeah.
I just sat there.
They were so good, though.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many times where we'll have a meal at home, and the comment I make is like, there's no restaurant that we would have gone to and gotten a meal that good.
No matter what you paid.
No matter how much you paid for it. Like,
Oh man.
It just couldn't be better.
That sandwich Eric made was like a knock you off your chair. Like, this is out of this world, and just, gosh, it was good, man.
Yeah, we tried to talk him into doing a food truck.
We did, yeah. Yeah, we're like, hey, we'll invest.
We'll
Like,
partner with you.
yeah. But yeah, it was good stuff. It was very good stuff. So
Yeah, tasty.
yeah, it was good. Food is good. I'm excited about those smash burgers. Very excited about
Yummy.
those. Yeah, it's going to be good. Well, as always, before we get to our bottom of the hour break, I just want to kind of lay a little bit of the groundwork for what I would like to talk about the second half of the show. And I'm not sure what we're in pursuit of today. When I was thinking about it, I wanted to say we're in pursuit of the brakes. And I'll
BRAKES.
yeah, brakes. Like, put the brakes on. And maybe one of the reasons brakes are on my mind is because I feel like the last week, like with everything that, wood to cut and work and all this stuff, I've spent hours working on the car, just brakes. Like the front, like I think all 4 tires now, the backs have new rotors, new calipers, new pads, but they needed it bad.
Yeah. We were driving a hoopty.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was terrible. But the fronts put calipers and brake pads on, and they're still a little shimmy, so I'm thinking the rotors are warped, and so we'll have to dig back into her again.
Yeah.
It's good to get the hands greasy once in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. But that's probably why the brakes are on my mind. But here's what I mean by it in being in pursuit of the brakes is, and I don't think this is just me, but sometimes this happens to me where I will get, I'll get so many thoughts, so much stuff going on that my mind is just racing. And when it gets racing and the things just kind of start to pile up of the different, whether it's difficult things or easy things or projects at home, things at work, people, family, all the different stuff, that what can start happening is my mind gets racing and I start thinking about all of these different things, and then something happens to me that I heard this statement, and I don't know where I heard it, but it really has stuck. But the statement is analysis paralysis.
Yeah.
Where you like for me, it's I'm thinking so much about either one project, like even around the house. I'll have a project to do, and I'll stand there in the dining room holding my cup of coffee, looking outside, trying to analyze the most efficient way, the most effective way, the best way, the right way to do a project, and I'll analyze it so much that it paralyzes me.
Yeah. I remember you saying that.
Yeah.
It was like a month ago.
Something like that,
for the first time. I can't remember where you heard it from, but yes.
But I heard it and it was like, this describes what happens, because I don't want to screw things up. I don't like making mistakes. You had a word of the week recently. Capacious? Something like that. And the word was to I think it meant to do things just kind of offhand, off the cuff, something like that. And your comment was that I don't do that because I like to plan things. And that's my mind. But here's the problem, is that sometimes there's so much planning that I just don't do anything.
Yeah.
Oh.
That I analyze so much that it paralyzes me.
Yeah.
To the point where I don't even do anything. And that's it's analysis paralysis, where it causes you, like it handicaps you. It causes you to freeze up. So it happens a ton with projects at home. But I also think it fits here, where it's like the different things that we can get on our minds, the stuff that we can be thinking about, the pile of things that we can, it can almost paralyze us to where we don't handle any of it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We don't take care of it. We don't move on from it. This stuff just piles up, and we get it. We allow it to paralyze us. And for me, I think of like the snowballs. You know, I don't know, James, if this is for you, but like you get a thought or there's something on your mind, and then that snowball just starts rolling down the hill and racing out of control. Right, where it grows and it grows and it grows.
Yeah,
and it's like sometimes you get all these different snowballs rolling down the hill. They're all growing. You're trying to focus on them enough to handle them.
Yeah.
Without screwing them up and making things worse.
Yeah.
But then what happens is you end up handling none of them because you get analysis paralysis.
Yeah, that's 100%. Like just with the wedding, and we're trying to plan that, and then just having two jobs that I really like, there's like so much I want to do at both. So then it's like, you know, now I'm like thinking about projects. Yeah. Like I'm at one job and I'm thinking about the other job, or I'm at the other job and I'm thinking about the one job. Right. So it's just like, and then just trying to like balance that with just taking a chill break once in a while. And it's just not, I haven't been efficient. So I'm like getting burnt out. Yeah. So So, and that's like what you're saying, like the snowballs, like, because then it gets to a point where it's like, it was happening a lot during the school year, because on top of all that, I was doing homework and studying and stuff. So then nothing was getting done. And I would like, you know, and it would be like day of the assignment, turn it in quick, then play video games for an hour. And that was my break for the week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it really does. It affects, I think, everybody in one way or another. And so that's what I mean when I say, or try and explain this, in being in pursuit of the breaks, in pursuit of, like, let's stop for a second. Let's put the brakes on for a second, especially now that the brakes work properly. Let's put the brakes on for a second. Hey, you know, and honestly, maybe this just took a turn, but in some cases, it's like the brakes aren't working properly. And that's why things race out of control. And this can be mentally, emotionally. In some cases, it can be physically, spiritually, because the brakes aren't working properly.
Right.
We don't have the components, the right components in place to to be able to just kind of slow down this racing and running out of control. And so that's kind of a little bit like, that's what I'd like to talk about. And I have a few notes here of, like what do we do? Because I know we're not the only ones that struggle with this. What do we do? How do we try and rein this in? How do we assess the break parts of our life to find out so how do I do this? How do I put the brakes on? How do I get beyond this analysis paralysis so that I can be moving forward? So that's what I'd like to talk about coming up in our second half. But before that, one of the highlights of all of our weeks is our Word of the Week.
Word of the Week. This is the part of the show where Denise and Bill learn new words in pursuit of knowledge and understanding of the English language, and so they can sound smarter. Yep. We're going to sound smarter today. Copacetic is our word.
Oh, my.
I know. Copacetic. So honestly, I've heard this word before, and through context, I kind of knew what it meant. But I thought, you know what? I'm just going to solidify in my head what this word means. And it means exactly what you think, because it's very easy to get it from context. It means very satisfactory. Copacetic. Here's an example sentence from the dictionary. And his smile told him that everything was copacetic. Okay? Everything was very satisfactory. Everything was good. The interesting part about this word, because I'll look up a lot of words during the week to try and figure out, is the history of this word. Copacetic was first recorded in the early 1900s, and its origin is unknown. The history of this word is up for great debate. Like if you read it, it's very interesting. If you go on and find out the history of this word, the proposed languages of origin, because it's up for such debate, is Chinook, Italian, Louisiana French, and Hebrew.
Really?
I know. That's crazy.
Wow.
And nobody agrees upon where it came from. So none of the origin stories are particularly convincing. So nobody agrees on this. And I read a lot more about it. And it is an interesting story. So the first attested use of the word came from Irving Bachelor's 1919 book about Abraham Lincoln, A Man for the Ages, in which the copacetic was actually spelled differently. So this word has 3 different spellings too.
Wow.
Which is, weird. So it was spelled differently. And then it further entered the public consciousness through the Prohibition era song, and then it's At the New Jump Steady Ball, which I was going to listen to, but I ran out of time to listen to it. At the New Jump Steady Ball. Those lyrics include the line, copacetic was the password for one and all at the new jump steady ball. So if I listened to the song, I'd have sung that line for you, because copacetic was the password for one and all at the new jump steady ball.
Sounds like a rap.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
PTSD from the weekend.
So by the 60s and 70s, when it reemerged as a popular slang, the common spelling became what it is in the dictionary now as the main spelling, Copacetic. And that's how it's generally spelled today. So if you're living the life of Riley, strolling along Easy Street, or wallowing in hog heaven, your circumstances may be described as copacetic. A word of obscure origin, copacetic has for over a century satisfied those who have a hankering to describe that which is hunky-dory or otherwise completely satisfactory. Isn't that cute?
Very.
Yeah. So what do you think of our word of the week?
I think it's copacetic.
Nicely done, because you used it in a sentence. So I'd like to use it in my own sentence, because if I don't use it, I will lose it. Every event in my life is copacetic whenever Bill is involved.
Aww.
He is a great life partner. Aww. So that's our word of the week.
You're listening to In Pursuit with me, Pastor Bill, a production of WAJC, Your Life Radio on 88.1 and 91.7 FM. WAJC is owned and operated by Maranatha Assembly of God in Forest Lake, Minnesota. If you would like to visit Maranatha Chisago Lakes campus, we have 4 weekend services to choose from. Visit MaranathaChisago.org to learn more and to check out some past messages. All right, we're back. One real quick reminder as we continue on with our being in pursuit of the breaks. Just a few things coming up. The summers are super fun around both of our Maranatha campuses. And with everything that's happening, here's what I want to encourage you to do is go to our websites. Whether you listen live or down the road, the websites on both campuses are kept very up to date. They're managed very well. Go to realchurch.org, find out everything happening at our Forest Lake campus, and go to MaranathaChisago.church to find out all that is happening at Chisago. And in both campuses, we have our social media, both managed very well by a great team of people. So again, I want to encourage you, check that stuff out. And as always, if you know someone looking for a church home, or if you are, we would love to have you come visit one of our campuses.
Yes, we would.
Right?
Right.
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 There you go. There you go. Right. All right, so continuing on, I also want to say special hello to Emma. Emma's at my mom and dad's on her lunch break.
Hi, Emma.
They are, Emma and Maddie get very well taken care of at mom and dad's house.
Yeah.
They work right in Wyoming. Mom and dad live in Wyoming, and it's just a phenomenal treat that they have that right there.
That's
So
sweet.
Mom and dad love it. The girls love it. Nice. And yeah, it's a cool program. So here's what we're going to do is this. We're going to be in pursuit of the breaks. We explained already what we're talking about. And so kind of what we're going to look at are our break parts. I'm liking the way this is playing out different than I had planned. But
going with the flow.
Well, when the brakes don't work properly, it's hard to stop when things are running out of control.
Yeah.
So we got to make sure the brakes are working properly. And this is a Christian radio station. We are believers. We love Jesus. We are filled with the Holy Spirit. And
we believe the Bible is true.
We believe the Bible is true. And so one of the first things that I think we need to do, and you guys, even as we go down this short list I have and these guys weigh in, I'm not saying this stuff is easy in any way, shape, or form.
No.
It's especially when things start to race out of control. Like when I drove semi, the hill in Duluth, I talk about this at funerals I do sometimes. When you go down that hill in Duluth or coming down from up by like Miller Hill Mall into town coming home, when you're in a semi, it's like, I mean, there's times the tires are smoking because you got to stop and you got a big load and you're going downhill, and the brakes got to be working properly. And that's that rolling downhill, out of control. How do I stop this? How do I get a handle on things? Like, that's what we're talking about today. Just being in pursuit of the brakes and making sure they're in proper working order. So the first thing I want to encourage us to consider doing, which is funny enough, even as Christians who believe strongly, first thing is just try and pray. When you just get a zillion things going through your mind, whether it's projects or personal things or work things or the combination of all of those, which usually seems to be what happens in my head, is life just gets overwhelming at times. And it happens to everybody no matter what you do.
Right.
It happens.
Right.
And to just pause and to pray. And I know it seems cliche, but it's really true to pause. Sometimes even just that pausing and bringing it before the Lord. You know, the thought that popped into my head is it's almost like you're just taking this drive, this engine that's racing out of control, and you're just putting it in neutral for a second. And the engine just stops revving so high, the RPMs drop, and you're able to just try and find some peace in the presence of your God, who you know is with you. Whether you're on the mountain or in the valley, He is there and He's with you. And we believe that He speaks to us, and we believe that He speaks through us by the Holy Spirit, and that's kind of what that time is like. Okay, I just got to stop. I just got to stop and just pray. You know what I'm saying?
I do. And for me, this is terrible to say, I forget to do that.
Oh, I don't disagree.
I love to pray. I love to talk to God throughout my day. It's not like I sit down and fold my hands and shut my eyes and stop moving, but I love to pray. But when life gets overwhelming and it starts coming at me from all different places, I can forget to pray about it.
Yeah.
So this is so good. It's a good reminder because, yeah, it's like you do the right thing until it starts becoming overwhelming, and then you forget to do the right thing.
Yeah. But that's the
Don't judge me.
no. It's the
I'm
thing
talking to
is,
people out there in the air.
it's funny though, the number of Christians they come in and talk to us, or friends that you have, and there's so many people that that's what they'll admit. I know this is what I should do. This should be the first thing I do as a believing Christian. The very first thing I should do, especially when things start racing out of control, is pray about it. And a lot of times there's difficult circumstances that are kind of coming into play, and there's variables, and there's questions, and there's stress and anxiety and worry, and in some cases regret and guilt and all of these things that come in.
Yeah.
And it's like there's no real better place to go than to God.
Yeah. And I can admit that I do that when a hard thing hits me. It's when multiple hard things hit me at the same time. It's like you just get overwhelmed, like it just swells and overtakes you.
Yeah.
And your head's underwater,
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes me think about it's like when I forget to pray when there's like when things just get a little overwhelming and stuff like that. I'm really quick to justify it, where I'm just like, this issue I'm having is really inconsequential to like the rest of my life, so it's not that it's not worth praying over, but it's just not a big deal.
Yeah, I understand.
But then I'm just like, why wouldn't I let God decide that?
Yeah,
like,
that's a great point.
Yeah, I just thought that now because I haven't even thought of it like that before. But yeah, just like, why not let the guy the God who's sorting it all out in the first place decide that?
Yeah. It's not like you're going to overwhelm God with too many prayers.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's what my thought is.
Yeah.
It's like, he doesn't need to be bothered by this. Is that kind of what?
That's another way. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like he doesn't
kind of
need
justify it.
Yeah, this is just such a small thing, but he's not overwhelmed by our prayers.
Yeah.
Well, and I don't know that the thing is as important as you are. And so if the thing, no matter how big or small the thing is in the grand scope of our life or our world, in the moment, it is something that is affecting you. If you don't know, but you will. But if you remember, like, you have a kid that was little, like Emma's listening right now. Okay, so when Emma was little and Emma lost her toy, I actually remember one time she had saved her money, and she had bought herself an iPod, like an iPod Touch or something, I think it was. Yeah. And then
that's a big deal.
It was a big deal.
It's a big deal.
So and then it got left on a Bobcat track. I was driving the Bobcat. Actually, the girls climbed up on my lap, so now I'm driving the Bobcat with the girls on my lap, and I turned and ended up running over this that she had bought. Now, in the grand scheme of her life, is that a big deal? And in relation to purchasing houses and cars and stuff like that, is that really a big deal? So to me, it's like, okay, let's keep this in perspective. To her in that moment, it was like the end of the world. And so now all of a sudden, to me, that's extremely important. Does that make sense?
Right, because it's so important to her. It becomes very important to you.
Yes, it affected her. So that's the same way, like when I think of the Lord, that's a great point you brought up, James, because it doesn't matter. What matters is us. Yeah. What matters to God is me. It's you. I mean, that's what matters to God, is where we're at, what we're walking through, you know?
And the fact that we'd even bring it up to him at all, I think, is just as important too, because it's like
what he wants,
about the heart. Yeah,
because how many times you're going to tell your kids, what'd you decide you're going to have 17?
Between 17 and 30.
Yeah, okay, that's good.
That's what we agreed on.
That's a good number of kids.
Lordy. But just there's nothing really greater than when your kid is struggling and they come to you. Even as they become adults, like, it's crazy cool. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, you're never happy they're going through a hard time, but when you're somebody they call, no matter how big or little it is, and it's just God is a loving Father, you know. So, the first thing, what do we do? Let's pray about this stuff. And the second thing that I would want to suggest is this, and it kind of goes along those lines, but to talk about it. And this is up there with a difficulty as well. But it's having those people in your life that you can talk through things with. to help kind of make sense. And I think along the same lines of what you said, James, we don't want to bother people with things that we think aren't important. But like, I can't think of anybody in my life, if I was struggling with something big or little and I went to them, they'd say, why are you wasting my time with that stupid little thing? They'd say, yeah, absolutely, let's talk about it. And I think that there's great value that comes with that, you know? And if there's, like, I've learned this over time, and I still do it wrong all the time, but like we kind of talked about in recent weeks with relationships, like with you and I, or with friends even, it's like, if there's a question or a conflicted situation, to not just get, and this is where I fail, I get analysis paralysis, and pretty soon the snowball grows. And now I've turned this little seed of whatever it is into something massive, and now I'm responding and reacting based on the massive instead of the little seed, because I don't have the conversation about it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Happens relationally, as friends, as co-workers. There's all of these different situations, and when we don't talk about it, we end up filling in the blanks, and that's how that little seed turns into this massive thing. And almost, not all the time, but almost every single time, I finally get to the point where, okay, like I'm literally driving myself crazy right now, and those around me, because I just won't ask the question or have the conversation. Almost every time when I finally say, I just got to know, or hey, when you said this, or hey, when you did this. And almost all the time, it's a miscommunication. It's a misunderstanding.
Yeah.
It's not even close to what I've created it in my mind to be, because I end up filling in all the blanks, and I come to the conclusions. And what direction do we go when we start filling in our blanks? And
The worst possible.
the worst possible scenario. Yeah. And I think we all do that, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, so that's where, to me, it's like, okay, talk about it. And it might be uncomfortable, but again, once you talk about it, now you have the information you need, and at least the determination or conclusion you're coming to, it's based on the fact instead of what you're creating in your own mind, because it's racing out of control.
Right.
Yeah.
But once again, you need to have a safe person for a lot of these situations, a safe person to talk about, because you're revealing a sensitive area. And that's why this little seed is bothering you in the first place. Yeah. And so to have people that you can go to, and people that say, yep, I hear you. This is what it really looks like to me. And I'm going to hold that in confidence and not use it against you.
Right.
Yeah.
So just a little plug for
confidential. Yeah. Well, your people, your friends.
Your people, that they love you and they aren't going to use it as a weapon against you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because almost anything that is that irritating, sensitive to you, can be used as a weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you're exposing a vulnerability, an insecurity, a wound of some kind, and but just to talk about it, you know, so to pray, to talk, and then another thing would be this, and obviously, if you guys, you know, if other things are popping in your mind or whatever you do, I'd love to hear them, but to the importance of listening. So that can be a hard thing for me too, where I'll say, hey, this, I'm observing this, or I heard this, or this is how I interpreted that.
Yeah.
And I just need to know, is this what you meant? Now, if somebody says, no, that's not at all what I meant. Okay. It's important to listen. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And take that in, and, you know, allow that to help redirect or slow down that insane running of your mind. What are you smiling about right now?
Because it's really hard to hear that truth when you've let your mind get so far down the road of
It is.
this
Seriously.
injurious
That thing that it's turned into.
that's turned into this huge big thing, and then somebody tells you, well, that wasn't at all what I meant. You go, bull, honky.
Yeah.
It's like, that is what you meant, because that's what it did inside of me.
Yeah.
But you have to hear what they say. This has been a process for me. Hear what they say and take it as truth, because they're the only one that knows what they really meant when they said that or did that, or when this happened. And so to be able to listen and actually quiet that big old monster you made in your head can be pretty difficult to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I was smiling, because you're talking about it, but whew, doggy.
None of this is easy.
Yeah.
Right. This is kind of funny because you bringing up like the hearing and listening. I visited like a staff chapel with my other job because we were doing like a thank you lunch for this church that hosted an event. And so it was like their staff chapel, and the speaker was talking about living life unoffended, and a lot of it was like what we were just talking about here. And she had like 5 ways to do it, but the second way that like really spoke to me, that it kind of sounds like we're talking about a little bit here, was just living life unoffended would be to interpret things with grace and not with suspicion. And I think it's like even more true when you're coming back to the conversation after things have snowballed.
Yeah.
You know, now they're telling you what was going through their minds, and it's just interpreting it with like that grace. Obviously, like the first time when the snowball starts, but then coming back to it, I think that's really good.
Yeah.
But
interpreting with grace instead of suspicion.
Yeah. Shut up, James.
It wasn't me.
I'm sorry.
That's going to snowball. James will be going to Denise later today.
Did you really mean for me to shut up?
Yeah.
In the moment.
Next time Denise asks James a question, you're just going to sit there and look at her. You told me to shut up.
Oh, can I talk now?
Yeah. Now it's convenient for you. Oh, that's funny.
That's funny.
Yeah, I think that there is a lot to it, and honestly, you know, like that, some of that, you know, we're in a world where we are so easily offended, and and all that, you know, and that it just grows. Everything just grows, and it gets out of control, and then we're stuck in our minds. You know, there's times I'll pray, God, help me get out of my own head. Just help me, God. Just help me. And I know I'm not the only one. Again, it's just the example, but God, just help me get out of my own head. Stop, and I'll ask Him, can you stop the snowballs? God, everything's just racing out of control. Can you stop it? Can you just stop it? And that's where that kind of that picture of putting it in neutral. Okay, we're still rolling. Not everything's gone, but at least the engine is not pushing everything out of control right now.
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
Yeah. And it's like, man, oh man. But then I think the fourth thing, just real quick before we close here, is this. I know that I've said in the past, and I believe it's true, that there are times we have to be discerning and through prayer and the Lord's leading, and there are times when doing nothing in a situation is the right decision to make. You let it play out, you wait and see, you gather more information. That I'm not a big fan of that immediate response to things, because all too often it's emotional, all too often it's like out of
filled
control.
with regrets.
Yeah, it can be, yeah. But there are times it's like, okay, but the flip is true as well, where you can get analysis paralysis, and you can want so much data and so much time and so much information that you do nothing. But when you do nothing, everything's left in your mind. And so to do stuff, it's again, if you have to go to somebody, have the conversation. Even if you need a third party present to say, hey, this is going to be tough and I just want somebody with me. It's like, even around the house, the projects that can just give me that paralysis, it's like, just do something so that at the end of the day, you're not regretting wasting a day because you had analysis paralysis.
Yeah. And
that's the same thing with all the thoughts, the issues, the circumstances, the struggles that get stuck in our heads. Let's take some of the trash out. Let's deal with some of these situations and let's start emptying our minds a little bit, because there's only so much. I think they get overloaded. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when you have the conversation, then it's like, okay, at least it might not make the pain go away, but at least now your response is based on the conversation.
Right. You have more information, not just what you're guessing. Not your
your worst case scenario information.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know if that fits for anybody else, but hey, I hope that helps. If you happen to get analysis paralysis sometimes because things are racing out of control, today I want to encourage you to be in pursuit of the breaks. Ask God to help you. Find someone safe, or even the other person that you have the issue with, and talk to them about it. Make sure you listen and then step out and do something. But we all hope you have an amazing rest of your day.
We do.
God bless you. Have a great day.
Bye now.
Bye.
Thanks for joining In Pursuit with Pastor Bill and me, Denise. We hope you will tune in next Thursday at noon as the pursuit continues. In Pursuit is a production of WAJC, Your Life Radio, on 88.1 and 91.7 FM. WAJC is owned and operated by Maranatha Assembly of God in Forest Lake, Minnesota. The opinions expressed here are not necessarily those of the owner.